and welcome to the Daylight Midnight Show. My name is Greg and I'm getting very close to needing a haircut. Now the timer's already running and I have to say that after last week's time penalty fiasco, it's really nice to have a 10-minute show this week. But what kind of show are we going to have? Let's find out by activating the Gregometer, as we do every week. This is a very scientific device. It was designed by technicians in Tehran, and this will measure things like my blood pressure, my stress levels, how much lint there is in my navel, and it will come up with one word that sums up my mood today and the kind of show we might have, and it will beam that word to the expensive display cabinet behind me. So this week I can tell you the word that sums up how I'm feeling is autumnal. Well, it is October now, and there is a nip in the air, and as they say in these parts where I live, the nights are pulling in now. Actually, the nights don't bother me. What's really getting on my nerves already is the dark mornings. You know, waking up and you've got to wait an hour for sunlight to appear. We will do a show one week that's a special all about seasonal affective disorder and winter depression, but we'll save that for a couple of weeks until we really need it. Moving on then, we're going to do our quick Seagulls update. As you know, Brighton and Hove Albion have been chosen as our designated team to support throughout the Premier League season. So a quick update on last week. I watched the whole game on TV against Manchester United. Probably the craziest game I've ever watched. United won with a last-minute penalty, but it should have been all over by then. Brighton should have won about 7-3. There were 4 times we hit the woodwork. 3 of those was from one player, and they missed loads of chances as well. So my review was, fun to watch, disappointing result, but we move on and we hope for better this weekend against Everton. And there could be a new striker in the team. We have signed the Swiss under-21 international, Andy Zekiri. Z and a Q in his name. That is a hell of a Scrabble score. So Everton against Brighton tomorrow. Greg predicts a 1-1 draw. From the Seagulls update, we go to the brown folder. This is something I carry around with me at all times, and if I think of something I want to talk about during the show, I'll make a note of it in here and then we can go through it together on a Friday. And we start with a picture. Now last week I did this online questionnaire to determine which penguin I am most similar to, and it told me that I am like a Galapagos penguin, which I've never heard of. So I did some research, and this, my friends, is a Galapagos penguin. So this is going to go up on the door of delights, and this can be like a little Daylight Midnight Show mascot, and he can watch over us every week. And if you think of a name for him, the official Galapagos penguin of the show, get in contact with me. My email address will be coming up at the end of the show. The other thing in the brown folder, I've written down about a little conversation I had with a friend of mine. His birthday is next month, and my birthday is the month after. And neither of us like having winter birthdays, but we were talking about, as we're both approaching 50, should you still be writing lists of things that you want for your birthday, the way you did when you were younger? And he said this lovely thing. He said to me, Greg, the only thing I want for my birthday is for all my family to be healthy. And I thought, what a lovely sentiment, and also how similar we are, because all I want for my birthday is a wok. You know, a real proper Chinese one with the wide bowl and the long handle. I had one and we lost it, got broken when we moved, and I've never replaced it. So anytime I do a stir fry, I'm using a cheap one from Tesco's that's really flat, that sort of British flat frying pan, and stir fries just aren't the same. So Father Christmas, if you're watching, I would like a wok under the tree this year. Thank you. So from the brown folder, we're going to move on to outfit roulette. Now, when I started talking about this, it was just a simple idea that was going to randomise what I had to wear so I didn't have to make my own clothing decisions. So I designed this lovely grid, and I thought, well, update it every week so we don't have the same combination. So I've taken the bow tie off this week to put in braces. And what I've been doing is I've been using the randomness of the Rubik's Cube. So I roll it, and then depending on what colour comes up, I look on here and that determines what I'm going to wear next week for the show. But I've been thinking over the last couple of weeks, when I roll this, it doesn't really roll properly along the desk. It kind of lands and skids. So in a way, I can influence this. For example, I know that if I have red facing upwards, when I roll it, it's almost certainly going to land on orange. Of course it would be black this time, because orange is opposite red, and it just falls over a couple of times and lands like that. So it takes a bit of the randomness out of it. So I thought maybe I should go back to using one of the dice from my Yahtzee set, because this is a cube, but it's got sort of beveled edges, so it rolls properly. So when I roll this, it goes over 5 or 6 times, so you know I'm not fixing it. But then I thought I like the colours on the Rubik's Cube, so I couldn't decide, do I stick with the Rubik's Cube or go for the Yahtzee dice? So I thought, well, maybe we need to randomise it, so every week we'll find a way of a random choice of whether I use the cube or the dice. Now how would we do that? Well, it's a 50-50 choice, isn't it? Cube or dice. How do you decide 50-50 decisions? You can do that by using a coin. So I thought I could toss a coin and, for example, if it lands on heads, it will be the cube. If it lands on tails, it'll be the dice. But then I thought, well, I'm deciding whether the cube is heads or whether the cube is tails. So in a way, I'm putting my own influence on it again, and that's taking a level of randomness out of it. So we need a way of randomizing whether heads is the cube or tails is the cube. But how would we do that? Well, it's another 50-50 choice, isn't it? It's going to be heads or tails. So what's another way of making a 50-50 decision? Well, a pack of cards has 52 cards in it, and they're split in half. There are 26 red cards, and there are 26 black cards. So I thought every week I can shuffle a pack of cards, and then I'll cut the pack, and say if it comes up red, then the cube will be heads, and if it comes up black, the cube will be tails. That randomizes it again and puts in another level of chance. But then I thought, how do I decide whether black means that the cube is heads or whether black means that the cube is tails? Because I'm then putting my own influence on it. So I thought, well, we'll have to do that every week, like the FA Cup draw. So we'll have some papers, and we'll have a way of folding these up, and we'll put them down in front of me where I can't see them properly, and then we'll pull out one each time. So red will be heads, and you know, by now, as you might have told, I was getting really confused. So I've decided to stick with this idea, but I've done one of my little charts in art class to make it look a bit more obvious. So that's the final decision. Is it going to be the cube or is it going to be the dice? So to decide that, we toss a coin to see if it'll land heads or tails. To decide that, we will cut a pack of cards, and to decide that, this is where I've messed up a bit. I've drawn a couple of bowls because I wanted to do a proper draw out of bowls, and I have cleverly left the bowls downstairs somewhere, and part of the rules of this show is we don't stop, we don't edit, we just go with what we have. So I'm going to pin this up on the door of delights, and we're going to go through it together. So instead of using bowls, I am going to use, I'll just use the table in front of me so you can see exactly what's going on. So I will show you that we have on these, we have red and black. So these are going to be folded up so that I can't tell which one is which. So let's fold them up like that. And on the other one we have heads and we have tails. So I'm going to pick one of each, and that will determine the first layer of the randomness that we're doing to decide the outcome of Outfit Roulette, which will decide randomly what I'm going to wear next week. So I wish I brought those bowls up, but I didn't. I haven't got anything else to hand that I can use as a vessel. Actually, what I can do is I'm going to drop them in there. Right? And I'm going to shake that up like that. So, pull one out at random, and that one is heads. So the first decision is heads. I'll show you that the other one was tails, so you know I'm not pulling a sneaky trick with the pack of cards. And then we'll put red and black into the randomizing box as well. So I will shake those up thus. We will take out one of these, which is going to be black. So we've drawn out heads and black. For the purposes of clarity, I'm going to show you that the other one was indeed red. So that'll be discarded. So on the chart, we now put black means heads. So that randomizes the next bit, because if I cut the pack and it's black, it means that the cube will be heads on the next level. I do know what I'm doing. I've been through this 60 times this week. Yes, because the cube bit is randomized next, so it doesn't matter if I choose the cube at this point. This is just going to randomize what the random choices will be next. So now we cut the pack. If it is black, it means that on the next level, then the cube will be heads. If it's red, it means that the cube will be tails. I will just randomly pull this up there, and that is black, which means that up here, heads is going to be, cube is going to be heads. So we write cube next to heads, and we write dice next to tails. And now we can toss the coin. Where have I put my coin? And if it's heads, it means the cube is deciding Outfit Roulette. If it's tails, it means it's the dice. There it is. I can show you quite clearly that that is the Queen's head, which means that in the final round of this, the cube is going to be... No, it's the cube. I've decided it's going to be the cube. Okay, so it's going to be the cube. So finally we roll the cube after all that, we've ended up with the same thing as last week. So I'm going to roll the cube 3 times. We're out of time, so let's do this quickly. Green, green, and yellow. Green, green, and yellow. So next week, I will be wearing, let's remove this to go back to the original accurate roulette. So next week, I will be wearing my black jacket, wearing my grey shirt underneath that, and that will all be topped off with the accessories, which are round glasses. There we go, we got there in the end. A quick rhyming couplet to finish with. If I use the cube or I use the dice, my clothing is random, and that's kinda nice. I'll see you next week. Have a great 7 days.